Mine matters fostering resilience and solidarity in mental health work in Europe, organized by Work Package 4 of the Core Project. So we are so happy to have you join us today. And let me briefly introduce the Core Project. CORE stands for Community Response to End Inequalities. It's a 63 months initiative that starts in January 2023, involving 24 partners from 60 EU member states. So the project aims to reduce inequalities in HIV, TB, and viral hepatitis responses by promoting, strengthening, and integrating the community responses. So my name is Hela, and I'm a project officer at Africa Advocacy Foundation in the UK, one of the partners in the core project, and it's an absolute pleasure to facilitate today's session and have all of you here. Also, we are joined by an incredible trainer, Lillian Petry. So welcome, Lillian.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
So before we start, just a few quick reminders. This session is being recorded for sharing on our website, but don't worry, the final video will focus on Lillian's input, so please feel free to speak openly. We are welcome to participate by using the chat or the raise hand feature if you want to share your thoughts during the discussion. And the workshop will last 90 to 120 minutes, and at the end we will have a short 5 minutes evaluation to hear your feedback. And I think now let's get started. And Lillian, it's all yours. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you, Hala. Thank you, everybody who came to attend this very important workshop seminar for us, because today we are living in a world of disorders, and it's very important to talk about them. And I'm also appreciating the organizers for the invitation. And I hope that we'll get out of this place with fulfilled expectations. So before we start, I would like to recognize that we are all coming from different areas of marginalized groups. And we are here in a space where we honor and respect each other's differences, recognizing that every voice and experience is valuable in building a more inclusive and supportive community, because core community has people from all different marginalized groups, and it's important that we agree to work together for that. I think I'm talking to professionals, and we won't have these kind of problems. And also we're going to mind our language. I also try to mend my language, that we don't reproduce pain and trauma and get out of here falling sick. So for the personal care, please prepare your space, sit in a comfortable find a place to sit where you really feel comfortable, have a nice environment. And I love food. So I think I request that everybody has something to drink near you. Only not alcohol, so that by the time the 2 hours are done, you'll still be here with us. But get a drink and stretch if you can. And today we're going to use breathing as the glider, as a permanent, presently resource to stay with us. Please breathe, 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 breathe. Breathe every thought which comes in your mind. You can breathe it deep in and breathe out. So, and then we can see how to get through this day. The purpose of this meeting, we are trying to talk about, we have designed for you. This is designed for you because you are committed to improving care for those with mental disorders and promoting their human rights, particularly setting where mental health resources are scarce. And we pride to expertise in a clinical specialty, but we are more in the social work. And if there are some people who are clinical, they would have more maybe details of that. We are trying to see that we have all of us policy makers and health professionals. We have Germany volunteers, that we are all here today, and experience, those who experience and those who don't directly experience. This is a goal to get all of you together, to work together and network. Maybe by the end of this meeting, you could exchange contacts and through Hala and see that we can continue to work together. So to the organization, Hala, maybe you'll talk about this meeting. After this meeting, we shall have to mark to give out our views about how the meeting was. Please let us not leave before we do that, so that we can be able to also request for maybe bettering our work or add some plus minus. So we are going to also emphasize on the importance of cultural sensitivity, solidarity, and accessibility of mental health care. And at the end, we shall have an overview of the presentation of today about the unique challenges that we have, the common mental health struggles that we experience, that we see, and the role of early intervention and the prevention strategies. Also, we shall have a small group discussion so that you at least well prepared. And we shall have 2 small sessions shortly so that we can also give back all the information that we carried here today. So I'm not going to do this work alone. We're going to do it together and we are going to learn from each other. And if you feel any uncomfort, you can use the chat. We have a chat down here. Please write, please ask questions. And Hala, thank you very much that you're here to help in this part of the organization. So we chose the topic as mind matters because our mind is part of a very important health sector. Our health is defined according to the World Health Organization with our mental health, with our physical health, with also our financial health very low. But this part of health should be considered extra so that people can talk about it. I come suddenly from Uganda, where mental health is looked at as madness. So we don't talk about these things. And I live also here in the community. I lead a community center where when we talk about mental health, people are scared to come out, and we have to do a lot of information workshops to make people come out and talk about it. And I also work with churches where the pastors are also very, very important key for our communities, that many people go to their church leaders to talk to them about things they cannot talk to with everybody. And we have burnt out pastors. We have pastors here too who are in mental health clinics being treated, taking help, and because of the pressures. And I'm coming from that perspective. My husband is a social worker, is now in pension. He worked for 30 years in the German AIDS help. And I could see the amount of pressure he carries home. And I coordinated refugee work for 5 years. I know how I would reach here at home and my head is really backed up with deportations, with racism, with all the issues that the people have, and with my own past trauma. I came to Europe as an asylum seeker, and some things could keep repeating themselves. This gave me also the intentional interest to come and try to deal with this topic. Because we have a saying in my language that when you're a hunter, the enemy that follows the hunter follows the dog. So you, as people trying to help the other people, you are the hunters, and the dog is being hunted too, so that we're going to meet in this workshop similar problems which clients have, which we could also have. And that's why we really want to protect ourselves. So if we don't have any questions on my introduction or anything added on the introduction, Hala, we could go to the next slide. Yeah. We have unique mental health challenges as key populations because we are unique. In Germany, especially, I'll keep using Germany because that's where I live and that's why I have the field work. And I think the differences are not very big. Here in Germany, we have a health system. You access it with an insurance. If you don't have an insurance, you don't have access to any health services. not mental, not physical. You cannot work, and you don't also have a good social network because people live in hiding. And one of the main big problems that we have in Germany are the traumas and displacement issues, especially for people who come from Sub-Sahara. They are more present in our community, but we have an aid service provider which deals with also other people coming from everywhere, from Ukraine, we have Syria people, we have Asia, we have Africa, we have also people coming from American countries, we have people who are using drugs, and all of them have a trauma problem, and we have very few service providers who give trauma services. And when we come here, we face a language barrier. So to access this system, we don't have the language. And if you didn't go to school, like to elementary school, it's very hard to learn the language and the new situation to adjust with the whole displacement, to get the right food, to get here, and people fall literally sick and they stay with the community. So these effects of forced migration, we just had an election, the 23rd, yesterday, but one. And we have a lot of pressure now in Germany, like never before, because the people voted a government which is putting the pressure of deportation on the people. And this is going to also reproduce another displacement and fear issue in our community. So the effects of forced migration are noticeable here in Germany. You can see them. I have also, because we work in networks, people who are living in France, they have the same pressures. We have all the African networks working with people in Spain. They have the same pressures, and that is a very big problem for the clients and also for the social workers who are working with these clients, because some of them still have their own experience of how they came here, and it keeps popping up. So we have cultural adjustments and isolations. I go to a community where we have more than 10 African people coming from 10 different African societies with very different, diverse ways of thinking about sexuality, about mental health, and putting them together, working together is very, very stressful. And sometimes you find a social worker who has been trained in Germany or has not been in the countries, and this is a big challenge also, which can cause also this person to be able not to be able to handle the matters. So we have work environment challenges here in Germany, that people come with qualifications, and these qualifications are not recognized in our system. In Uganda, for example, we study 16, 17 years. Like when I came here with my diploma, I tried to log it in and it didn't work. I had to go back to do a secretarial course for 2 years. It hit me bad. It really hit me bad. And you feel like you're qualified and you can't work with the qualifications. So this brings up, I'm sorry, my German keeps coming in. You feel low, you get a low esteem. Yeah. I don't know if anybody can identify with this. You get a low esteem at work with the other co-workers who have studied in this European structure, and you have your experiences and you have your barriers, and you can be working good, but this environment challenges, and we have a lot of racism in Germany too, which is also affecting people at work. We have two clients who have been trained teachers who are also now on therapy. Preparing for this workshop, really, I took time, I did a lot of interviews. I wanted to get information directly from the people so that I can prepare this presentation. People say the time they started feeling somehow the environment changing, they were scared of leaving the job or taking strong decisions, because you needed the job also to integrate. You also needed the job to get the papers to stay in Germany. So you stayed in that condition and re-traumatize, reproduce the pressure of living in the same atmosphere. By the time you get the papers, you are really broken down. And there were no services in the people who came here. Germany became a migrant country some years ago. There were no facilities. There were no places to go and talk about how people really feel. And they could not balance the professional work, which they needed, and they cannot easily change. You cannot easily change a job until now. If you have a good job, you can't easily change a job. You have to hold in there until you are recognized as a German, or until you get a better job, and which is very, very hard. So you have a family back home for many African people. We also have people who have been like their families have disregarded them for homosexuality or for being different. And some of those young people come from countries. We have people from Syria who the families realized that they are not what they were expecting, and they threw them out. So they come with their qualifications, and they have to still deal with these cultures, which are like, you can't be an Arab woman, or you cannot belong to your own community. This navigating into the German system becomes a very, very big problem, and it takes a long time until you find yourself finding solutions. And the identities of the children who are born here also push the parents. People come here, they are working as social workers, their children are born here, they cannot identify with the background, and they don't deal with it. I always say the problem with mental health, which has included children, families, and the whole global world, is because we don't treat it in time. We don't talk about it in time. The discrimination and the feelings of social exclusion, we don't talk about it in time. The fear of being deported, we don't talk about it in time. And we have a system here, we have lawyers. If you come here, you start paying the lawyer for all that, then you get financial pressure. It's like a cycle. Then with the financial pressure, you cannot not support the family. And with the financial pressure, you can also not pay your own bills around. Then it goes into your mental health imbalance, and then people really break down. So we have environmental challenges. Also, we have microaggressions. We have a language which has been established in the old days. I suddenly have a chance to be working also in German communities. There are some languages, some words which they have saved as normal. Sometimes they use the N word and they don't mean it bad. And I'm seriously there, maybe taking a client into an office to talk to a person, and then the person who's supposed to help my client is coming up with languages and saying words, and I'm in this explosion where I can't wait to explode. And I still say I am here to be professional, and I cannot take this. It's not addressed to me. For this moment, I make myself sick because I have to work. Sometimes I'm a volunteer, and I have my microaggressions with small triggers. Sometimes they are really small because I feel aware. I feel I shouldn't be affected by now, but they trigger me out of the concept. I don't know. I feel like now I'm losing the control. So we are working to help other people, and our lives are inside the same risk. That's why it is very important for us. It's also good that CORE is looking up at these meetings, that we come here and we exchange. I'm trying to be very fast so that we can also exchange for ourselves what we build for each other, and how do we deal with these issues. So we have limited access to mental health. This depends on the language. It depends on the qualifications. It depends on the sexualities. It depends on all other these key populations which are not connected to the mainstream. It cuts people off the services, and people stay. We have people now who are driving cars into the Christmas markets, or people who are taking knives and killing people at the train stations. We have a lot of imbalance now in our government, that people are coming out that in the political campaigns and saying, yeah, the migrants must go because they are doing this and they are doing that. And when we talk about the mental issues, what the people, especially like now the young people came here and they didn't integrate, they didn't learn the language, they became mentally sick, and they didn't get in time, they didn't get help in time. And now the society looks at it as migrants as a whole, Muslims as a whole, and this becomes a challenge for the social worker and also for the people living with these challenges faced by the key populations. So Hala, if we could go to the next slide. Yeah. We have these common mental health struggles, post-traumatic stress disorders at all stages. We have them at early stages, we have them at chronic stages, we have them at acute stages, and they are all not dealt with. We have anxiety and depression. Many people here have learned about depression because it's so common. Everybody says, I'm depressed. When somebody's sad, we say, I'm depressed. And the depression has taken over the mental situations, and that we call it depression. And sometimes it's really intensive. Yeah. And the pressures which we go through to learn the new language, to requalify, they go slow, but they go on our brains and they create permanent damages. Yeah. I've seen women who were strong, came here 2000. I met women 2000, 25 years down the road. When I meet them, they are broken, they are finished. They don't want to work. They go to the government to take money. They are insulted. They have lost it completely because of these pressures which have not been dealt with. So we have adjustment disorders due to the pressure of adopting. That is very clear. We have burnout from navigating systematic barriers and cultural expectations. I think most of us know burnout. You keep doing and doing and doing, and you don't realize that now I'm cooking in a pot and the water is finished. And the resources are out, and then by the time you notice the food is burning and everything, maybe the house is burning, and then you notice that you could have really tried in time to find a solution. All these things I'm talking about are not common topics in our society. I don't know how it is in other countries, but here in Germany, in marginalized communities, these things are not talked about. We live with them. Everybody finds a way of navigating. Christians go to church, most Muslims go to the mosque. Some people dance, some people do some things, but they are not talking about the real problem of mental issues, because it's a shame to come and say, I'm burning out. I was raised as an African woman, and I'm not supposed to break down. I'm a strong African woman. And for all seasons, I have to stay strong. And I learned very late that I can be weak, that I can fall, that I can be tired, that I can say I cannot. So, and these are the common mental health struggles which are here, affecting us as clients, affecting us as social workers, affecting us as migrants, also as people who have other sexual orientations. Yeah, thank you, Hala, for your support. We are going through slowly. So I kept talking about time. Time is that one thing we cannot redeem. When we don't do things in the right time, the time is gone. The right time should be recognized. The importance of early intervention and preventive measures, not only in the mental health. I'm also living with HIV, and we have late presenters in the HIV area where people could have really been saved. We have people who are using their dialysis in the community. They could have been saved. The time, we have awareness and education. We don't have resources. Most of this work is volunteer work. Many volunteers are outside there doing this work on their own free time, creating awareness. We have here in Köln one of the biggest awareness trainers. They're called Pamoja Africa. They really train people from community. They look that the people in community are aware of racism, of mental health, of the German system, of the youth offices. They create awareness in every area. And I'm lucky to be part of the Pamojas, because all these areas which affect people, we go deep inside, working with the peers to find a way of solving them within ourselves. So these roles of education initiatives in destigmatizing mental health should be also promoted in every area. Awareness campaigns aimed at key populations and mental health professionals. They are available, but not regularly. People don't meet often to talk about these problems. And these problems are daily at the workplaces, daily in the schools, daily. So the input of the problems is less than the output of the solutions. So the early identification of symptoms, people have to be trained to know, when does it start to become mental? When does it start to become it's not a character anymore. Sometimes people say this person has a bad character. And when you know that people before, they didn't have a bad character, they started to fall sick. Training community leaders to identify signs of mental distress is one of the most important things. And we have successfully trained pastors in churches in a program called Our Health, Our Faith. We have trained pastors to talk about these topics inside the church so that many people come in the churches open-minded to learn. And the pastors use their Bible verses to talk about mental health in the church. And this has helped us get people early out of the communities to come and say, I think I need help. Then we can direct them to the service providers and see how we can help. So we're also encouraging open conversations about mental health in safe spaces. And it doesn't have to be people who are already affected. Just have to be an open space that people can identify that they are affected. I remember one time we have every year 2 times a meeting, migrants living with HIV. And we got a trainer who brought up a formula before we are feeling. If you sleep too much, mental health. If you don't sleep at all, mental health. If you eat too much, mental issue. If you're not eating, mental issue. And then we kept just like using these tables to feel up. At the end of these 2 days, we were literally sick and starting to be physically sick. So we need people who are also culturally educated to know that the people living with these kind of problems have also other problems which can be solved. So it doesn't have to be put directly in the drawer of they are mentally sick because of the therapy. Because we have good medication, we live with HIV, we take therapy, we are with U equals U, and we can really live. But the pressures of other things cause this pressures, and then you feel depressed. So when we're having open conversations, we talk about the main problems that we have. Than when you go alone and you get this piece of paper and you feel it, and by the time you leave the clinic, you really think you're mad. And people are scared to feel mad. So when you receive all these disorders, and sometimes we have them for the other reasons, so that people take professional help to know when I'm not sleeping, it's not because of that. That we get professional help, that we know why we are feeling how we are feeling. So we have to have also accessible support systems. Our structures in Germany are built like a pyramid. There's a very big organization up, and then there are smaller organizations, and then you come down to the lower communities. So between the communities and the higher levels, there's less communication. The German AIDS Help, the Dutch AIDS Help, has managed to work with community, with social workers, with organizations together, but they have to do it in the whole of Germany, and that is a big group of people, different marginalized people who are under the roof of the Dutch AIDS Help. So by the time we build trust within ourselves, by the time we address these cultural barriers, we need more time within ourselves. But because the work is not easily distributed, the access becomes very, very, very limited. And when you go to the service providers with one problem of, let me say, HIV, then this social worker has to go into your problem with the house and the problem with the children, and you have the problem with the language, and then you find our social workers sitting down trying to solve just one problem and burning out because their clients have multiple problems. Yeah, because the access of the system is closed, then the barriers are increased by the number of problems that we have. So to build this structure, which is having access to all problems for all people, is also a challenge for us in this system. So addressing cultural barriers that prevent access to care can only be done when also the other people, the clients, can also get a platform, empowerment, talk about it, talk to the trainer, that they can also not just get the offer, but they are part of the preparation of saying what they really need. Otherwise, we burn our social workers with sometimes with the cultural problems which they don't know. Some social workers are not connected directly are not from the people, the marginalized people. They are doing the social work, but they are not also well educated about these groups of people who they are working with. So they keep piling up and getting new information and getting so overwhelmed, and this can also be a danger for them as well as a danger for their clients. So thank you very much, Hala. We go to the next slide. This is an example, for example, what we do. We do fostering resilience and well-being. This is a group of women that there's a project, a care project, which is supported by Global Engagement for people living here in Europe, but supporting the people from other countries. So these women are, we have organized ourselves as Rural Women Development there, and I live here. I do chats, I train on the screen like this, talk to them, look at the mental health issues in their communities with polygamy, with lack of going to school, and empowering each other and helping them growing together. And to get resilience can be born and it can also be learned. There are some people, because of living in these groups, they have become resilient. So we have to be also learning to be mindful and have gratitude, practicing it among ourselves. And we had here in German the 5 pillars of identity, the balancing between body, health, social relationships, work performance, material security, and values. This is something many social workers and service providers have completely forgotten. They don't exist. There is no me. There is work, there are children, there is the husband, there's the wife, there's the family, there's the job, there's the boss, and you are not part of your life anywhere. This is a sign in a short time, the burnouts and the program of being sick will come and get our health away. The strategies to strengthen each pillar for holistic well-being should be a part of every social worker. And the people who are giving people jobs, the employers, should be also sensitized about the work that people are doing. Because sometimes the social workers take really a lot and the employers don't even know. They don't even know what they go through to help the people. That volunteers have a phone. Even in the night, people call us. You can be at home, people call you. And you work night shifts and you work day shifts, and officially you have 8 hours in the office. And this overworking, because of the problems, becomes your personal situation. So the social connections, strengthening bonds with family, friends, and community, building solidarity networks and supporting groups helps. Also, we have a big network in the whole of Germany where we meet 2 times. This meeting is paid for so that all people living with pressures come together and stay together for 4 days, learning, growing, solving each other's problem, getting professional help. And this also helps. It's little, but it's 2 times and it also works. And also we have networks, for example, in our community center. If you come like from Tanzania, we look for people who are from Tanzania and we network you with your people. We find ways of making people meet their own community so that they can continue getting those needs, those important needs, their food, speaking their language, meeting their people, the people who feel like them, who talk like them. We have also from Pakistan, where people came here and they cannot live with the Pakistan community because of talking about homosexuality. And we find groups of people where they can be well connected, where they can also meet people and have social network and help. So there is one thing, setting boundaries. When to say no, when not to pick the phone. Sometimes we finish working. Home office is associated with family. My grandchild just came from the nursery school. Please don't be like distracted. So setting boundaries in our lives, saying no when we cannot, developing this ability to say no without feeling bad. Many people come from cultures like you can't say no. You say yes, yes, and then you burn out from all the problems that the people are going to put on your table. Sometimes we don't have all the solutions. Like you see this photo when I got to meet these women physically. Everybody has a problem, and I carry it in my head, and they come and try to say, this one, Lillian, you can solve. This one you can't solve. This one you can help. This one you cannot help. And don't create a hope that you're coming with all the solutions. I don't live there. I live here. We have also people here in the site. Sometimes they know. We have a woman called Katarina. we say everybody needs a Katarina in their lives because they carry all their burdens to Katarina. And if we don't take care of our Katarina, she will burn out because she deals with everything from school to work to violence to money, which is not enough. And she's always opening for the people and listening to them. And people can, we say, we have a language in our city here, they say, don't make me your Katarina, you know, like find another solution. Now I cannot, now I need some rest. So people don't sleep because some of us are connected in too many networks. In England, it's this time. In Canada, it's another time. In Africa, it's another time. In Germany, it's another time. And you are in all these platforms working, solving global problems. And then you wake up in the morning and you didn't rest and you go to work and your health, your mental health starts deteriorating slowly until you realize that you need also help. Social workers have to be protected from themselves, from the society, and from the system, and from their clients. And if we don't help them to get through, then we don't have social workers, because social workers are full-time workers. They are accessible. Every time you look for them, they stretch themselves to every problem, and they learn how to navigate. Yeah. So we can try to think also about us without losing the jobs, without hurting the people, without being less productive. And we can do this if we get to learn how to do it, training ourselves how to do it. So Hala, before we go to the groups, I would like to ask if there are questions for now so that we can continue. The points we had here, we are setting self-care strategies, having workplace support and advocacy, professional development training in those areas of trauma for all social workers and service providers, practical coping techniques, mindfulness, deep breathing. It helps manage stress in high pressure moments, maintaining a work-life balance, setting boundaries, solving the problems of personal mental health, recognizing early signs of burnout. All these cannot be done when the employer doesn't give the time, employer doesn't give the facility, employer doesn't give the chance. So the employers of these people can give them these chances to heal themselves so that they can be able to support the people in their communities. So we must also prioritize our own mental health so that we continue serving effectively. If we are not okay, we cannot be effective in the work that we do. So if someone you know has a problem and you don't have to talk to the person, you can also call another person who is indirectly known to the person to talk to them. Sometimes we offend each other and say, I think you're crazy. I think you're mentally broken, and people really break from that we are professionalized to deal with these topics also at work. So thank you very much for this listening. Can we all first breathe, take a breath, and have a drink? Thank you very much. I'm also a 24 hours person. I am addicted to helping sometimes. And sometimes I have a family with a very supportive family. And I used to also drain my family into working with me to help people. My husband is in pension, and he's permanently running through the community center to help people. And his pension time is supposed to be a time for him to relax. But one thing I've learned with time that I can share with you, we cannot help people when we are not okay. We can't. At a point, we cannot even help them at all, especially our families. They need us to prioritize self-care. You can still also do all this. And as you, like, sometimes I would be going out to take a walk, and somebody will call them. I say, oh, can you come and we take a walk together? You know, I will also create a way that my clients learn self-care and we heal each other. And I work with peers. The people I'm helping are part of my problem too. So we do peers. We make prioritization. We say today we're going to just eat, sit down and eat and rest and eat well. People don't do exercise. We say exercise regularly. Some of us come from continents where exercising was part of the lifestyle. You wake up in the morning, you put the goats out, then you take the chicken, you run and bring water. And I never knew depression. I never knew burnout. I was fully involved in my village life. But I came here in a structure where everything has to, even when I'm just doing exercise, I have to notice now I'm doing exercise. It's not something I'm just doing like automatically. So when I want to help the people, I have to really find a way of, because a psychologist is going to talk to your theory and will not wear your shoes. But you will know that the things you used to do, the things you like to do, the things you stopped doing, which you can resurrect, you go back and see what you used to do. I used to dance. I stopped dancing. I got involved in work. I thought I'm too old for the dancing. And I started to burn my pot. My pot was empty, and I still continued cooking. So to eat well, to exercise regularly, to decide is a strong decision for ourselves, for our health. To meet, we also have these 4 balls of uh, of health that you take a way of looking at it and saying, what am I doing less? What am I doing more? There are also these calendars which help. Yeah, calendars which have this probably you can see this, which are already programmed to stock taking my week. What did I do this better this week? What did I not do this week? Did I do enough? These days we have also watches which remind us, oh, you walked this amount. Like we just adjust to the technology and also be around and protect ourselves from I use there's a company I use from England for body care, and they also help. You can also attend such seminars. Body care. How do I let my organs know take me to be 80? My parents live 98, and people these days are dying at 50. How can I also live 98? What can I do? We create such meetings and we go to build a support system for ourselves. Um, we have also dealing with grudges, which has caused a lot of loneliness. People have got a lot of grudges with so many people, and they ended up alone. That we find a way of dealing with grudges, knowing which battles we need to fight, which battles don't we need to fight, which things we have to let go. Yeah. Developing health coping mechanisms like engaging in hobbies. Yeah. So when I was in school, we made these baskets, and I came to Europe, I started buying baskets. I said, but I used to make baskets. Let me make a basket. And it became so interesting because I'm willfully doing a basket. I do paper piles with my children. I say, let us get old papers, cut them, create something. Let us cook, create some things, and then the people around you will get into these hobbies and will help you heal. Seeking professional support is well needed, but many people are coming from cultures where they don't know how to seek support. And the person who is offering this service also has some questions like, we don't know culturally these kind of questions. We don't even know how to answer them. Self-identity is, who am I in my being? What works for me? That everybody has a way, what works for them personally. I think this can help. Also for Tanas, the feeling, if the feeling is there, then the problem is there. We don't just feel by accident. And we should not downplay the feeling and denying and going and saying, no, this cannot be. But if you feel something, seek help, talk to another person and say, there is something I'm feeling, which is not my being. I helped with the elections yesterday, but one, and I felt something because I was sitting at the main entrance, and all the people who came had to give me the identity card and the voting paper. And many people who came, because in my station, more than 100 people voted against migration, they voted AfD. So they will come and look at me directly in the eyes and pass me and go to the next person. Then my colleague would say, you have to go back to her and give your identity and the card. Then they will give me the card in a form like, why are you even still here? You know, because now they have posted also in our boxes here in Germany. Oh, foreigners, get ready to go home. And we open the letter box, and you find such a letter in the morning. It doesn't even matter how resilient you are. These letters are not leaving us how we are. You open a letter box and you find somebody who wrote a letter, took time to tell you, now after this election, it's time for you to go. You go to work in the office with this mind, and the client says, I also got the letter. Then you come to the same level with your client, like you're being chased by the same problem. Despite your struggle to study, despite your struggle to be to learn, you still meet yourself being with your client. That's why we need these solutions. Wow, how can we cope? How can we become resilient? Everybody is affected. We shouldn't be ashamed. I also wanted to say we have an effect of social media, which is also a very big cause of mental issues today. We are listening to too many people. Yeah, we are with families, but listening to people who we don't know. We click, many of us click, and then you go and write things and ask a stranger, you ask the KE, and you ask everybody around. And we have broken the relationships of the family because everybody at home has a TV and a phone and an iPad in their rooms, and the children are also in their rooms, and daddy has his phone and he's also sitting somewhere with his phone, and you come, mommy or somebody coming home, the structure of the families has been attacked by social media. And this used to be a place to heal. Like after work, we went home, or after school, we went home. Now, when we go home, we go with the work, you know, we go with the work because you reach home and like there's some families, even to sit down and cook and eat is no longer possible because people meet each other in the door. When the husband is coming from the shift, the woman is going for the shift. When they have a baby, they exchange the baby in front of the door. And then the baby goes now with, and then they go to work. And when they're coming, the other one is sleeping, the other one is waking up. And the structures are not favoring humanity. And we are literally living in these structures and trying to, in German, we call it integration. At a point, I said, I'm stopping integration because I want to be me. I want to get myself back. I want to be alive again and wake up without trying to do something to become. Because there's something in the structure also. When you're studying, you studied to become. Now, this is not professional, or it's not it's not research, but it's from me. We study to become, but we already are. So you started to become a teacher, you started to become a doctor, you stop being human, you are already. Maybe we should study to do, not to become. Because when you become a job, you become the doctor, you become the nurse, and you stop being Povi, you stop being Hala, you stop being Thomas, you stop being Lillian, you become, you lose yourself in your identity enters fully the job. So that's why some people, when they lose their job, they feel like nothing because the whole identity went into becoming. We get married to become, but we already are before we get married. After the divorce, you become nothing because you changed being you. Then the divorce affects you into the trauma of a new identity of you continuing to be. If we can learn with all the milestones, having children, becoming a mother, you mother these children and bring them, but you don't have to become, because you will define what a mother has to do by becoming the mother, becoming the cook, becoming the driver, becoming. All this becoming is taking away from our real personality of being loving. I became a soldier, I became the police, and we lose the being of who am I as me before I'm doing this thing. These are jobs. And some of us are becoming so many jobs because in Europe, you don't do only one job. That's why you clean and you lose self-esteem because you feel now I'm a cleaner. It's possible to go and clean and still stay you. But if you're identifying yourself with a job, the risk of getting mentally broken when the job is away is very high. We parented children, we identified ourselves with motherhood. My daughter is now 24. She's a mother. So if my only identity was being her mom, I'm not going to be Lillian again after she's going to live her life. We have to save this I, me. I'm also here, living here. Also, a mechanism to survive is knowing that you live. Maybe let me ask, where do you live and where do you stay? Let me ask this question because we are not living where we are staying. And we are two people permanently. Sometimes we are three people. And I came here in Germany and I stayed in Uganda for a very long time. I stayed in Uganda. I thought in Uganda, I took the 10 euro and I translated it in Uganda money, and it was always 40,000. And this money was calculating. I wasn't here and I wasn't in Uganda too. And this imbalance as a migrant is really, it can be capturing. So, and when you define life, living, life means from the day you are born to the day you die, you are alive. That is living. And living can only happen in your body. The location of your house, location of your street, the Berlin, the Sweden, is a place outside your body. Because if we take away your body, you can't be in Berlin, you can't be in Sweden, you can't be that. The first place you really live is inside your body, such that if when you have a toothache, you stop living. If you have a pain on the small finger, you stop living, you start dealing with pain. The body is the only place that we live inside this one body, and when it's gone, we are out of this life. So to identify the body as the only living place will help us to do self-care, caring for this one place where you live. Some of us have built big houses, paradises in Africa with swimming pools, planning when we are 65, we are going to live there. And if the body doesn't reach 65, we are not going to stay in those houses. So I hope this helps to understand that the body is a place where I'm living, and it is mental, and it is physical, and the body needs social people around it, and the body is built with senses, 5 senses, which have to be fed daily. The looking, what do I see? The hearing, what am I putting through my ears? The speaking, what am I talking? The eating, what is going through my mouth? All these mental health issues go through the 5 senses of our bodies. You sit down, you watch, they go through the mind. You listen, it enters there. You go places, you put this body in a place where it breaks down, and we say we have a mental breakdown because the place we live is not being recognized with all its 4 identities. It has the physical body we see, needs total care. The stomach needs total care. Everything is going through the mouth to the gut and distributing even the oxygen to breathe. This is a place to live. If you are in a body which feels good, if especially the youthful body, it's a beautiful place to be alive in the youth. So when you reach my age, you start noticing that the place you live is not giving all the facilities. Waking up is a problem, sitting down is a problem, bending to put on my shoes is a problem. Then I noticed that all the years I lived in this body and it was functional. So I share that with you, that you find a place in your body to be alive, so that even if you don't have a job, or even if you leave London, you continue living. Even if you leave Berlin, you continue living, because the place of living is eternity. Until we die, we are living only in the body. We know each other also with the body. It's what we are seeing today. We are seeing each other and identifying us to each other and sharing energy through this one body, not through the houses, maybe on the cars or the jobs. And keeping that as an identity and not becoming the job would also help us to eventually be healed and wake up and do self-care. Yeah, my body has 5 senses. They need to be fed with healthy food, healthy drink, healthy movement, good friends, people around me, a good social network, and so we don't bite into the trying to integrate to become the people that everybody wants to become. Our clients know that we are not balanced. They know, they see our emotions, they feel us. They know when they come in the office, when they're talking to us, they know when we are listening, and they know when we are only hearing. And they know the difference. They feel, they know that today I went to Marianela and I talked to her, and the energy she gave me, she listened to me. And they know that they came to you and they talked to you and you just heard them. And that is now this half professional work which we can give to people when we are sick, when we are not well. When I'm so scared of my chef, I cannot work because my motivation to work is fear. Some experts say the two emotions or two very important motivations are fear and love. Doing things because we want to, helping people because we want to help them is different from doing things because we are scared that the boss will come and send us away from work. Then we are trying to work. But if you love your work, even the burnout will not come and attack you really because you're just doing what you love. If you love children, some of us ended in professions which were available. When I was here integrating, there were only two alternatives. If I want to live in Germany, I have to do office management as an option or nursing caretaker. And I feared injections. And I had a diploma in business studies. And I was going in a study which is not my personality, which I don't like doing. And when I got jobs, I always noticed that I'm a social worker. Whatever I was doing, I became the social worker. I teach in schools, I become the social workers. Before I know, the children are coming to me, talking to me about their their differences or their problems. I found identity in doing what I love. And I say, okay, I've studied this and studied that and did this, but I love doing this. And if I can go to cook, to use food, to teach people, then it is me. Then I'm authentic. But these mental issues which we get by doing the jobs to get money, that is the only job you have. There's even a right to stay here in German status, which they give you if an employer gives you a work contract. So you go out there, you get a work contract, and you take it to the foreign office, and the foreign office gives you a stay only for this job. And the person who's giving you the job doesn't even care what you have studied. They give you that job, you take it to the foreign office. Yeah, thank you, Mariola. You come back and start working like a machine. After 1 hour, you get 13 euro. A second hour, you get 13 euro. At the end of the month, you pay all the bills and you have nothing. The money was for paying for your transport to work and for your accommodations that you can work, and you did not even eat well. And that's why we're also having so many scams online. People are calling us to do online work, come and earn money on that. You call, you make calls, and people are really in those jobs. They see scams. People come into the office with papers. They put their account numbers. They got somebody on the social media who invited them for a job, a good job. And because the work systems are not human, you can't be counting, looking at the time. Some of the countries like we come from, they don't pay us per hour. I come from Uganda. There's nobody paying the hours. They are paying the results of the work. So if you are making a chair, you will sell the chair. You will not say, I used 3 months to make the chair. There's even no minimum wage in some jobs. But here, because we have a minimum wage, we are selling time and life, exchanging it for the 13 euro minimum wage. And if you don't have it, then you don't have a job. And if you don't have a job, then you are fed to the structure, because we have a job center. I don't know if they have it in other countries. Job center is a place people will help you to get a job. And you will do the job they get for you. So available jobs which are not fitting on people, and you are fitting on the job. We are sick because of many things. Huh? But our jobs are also a source of sickness. The jobs we are doing, they are not providing enough for us to even do self-care. You are calculating the money for swimming, holidays, to go for holidays. If you have 4 children in Germany, me who come from Uganda, the tickets are 800 euro, 3,200 euro. I'm already out of the holiday. That means the winter, the summer, for the next 10 years, I'll be here in my house. And this is not meant to be. We become lonely, people die. Burials, make closures. We don't go for burials. You stay here, you cry on the Zoom, and you bury your mother or a loved one. And all these things are piling up in our mental health issues. So when people are breaking, it's a lot together. It's really a lot. And then we are easy to trigger because we are feeding on those energies. But we can help each other also as a network to and ourselves to find solutions. And this is my trophy for you for staying until the end. Our trophy from community for you. You can take it for staying and for coming. Thank you very much.